So do you think your like film school background has helped with all of that? Like it's kept you focused on it being that, or not really? No. Okay.
Nah.
So I mean,
our film school sucked.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hi, welcome to Meet the Makers, a video series where I put questions to creators from around the world about their videography and photography businesses, mainly in the wedding industry. But first, I want to share with you a short video about a workshop for videographers and photographers I have coming up later in the year. If you'd like to learn more about the workshop, there's more information in the description below. Today, I'm going to be talking to Grace and Andrew from Bottlebrush Films, an Australian-based wedding videography company. These guys make cool, creative and fast-paced films and have a really strong brand, particularly their website, which is truly unique. Let's jump straight in with question 1. Well, hi guys, thanks so much for joining me today. It's really good of you for coming on. I'm going to go straight in with the first question, which is, how did you guys get into videography in the first place?
Yeah. Go on, I feel like you like telling the story.
We met in film school actually. So I was the annoying mature age student and Grace was straight out of high school. And yeah, we sort of just did a few things here and there, and we obviously got together then, and that's sort of how things started for us in a nutshell.
Yeah, Andrew was working for another wedding video company and didn't know how to edit, wanted to do things on his own, went and shot his friend's wedding. You know, I feel like everyone's got the similar story. I shot my friend's wedding and then we ended up shooting weddings professionally. Yeah. So I basically just took the footage from him and it was like, I'll edit.
So film school was like, what was your plan there? Did you just go because you had a passion for it, or was it just to learn the craft? What was the plan there?
Yeah, pretty much. For me, I was like very motivated. I was organising film shoots between semesters for our class and doing all those annoying mature age student things. And
we were drinking, I was drinking.
Yeah. And after that, so for me, I did a lot of work in TV as well. I started directing TV at ABC here in Melbourne.
Okay.
And freelancing on a lot of music videos and feature films and things like that. And Grace, you were working as well, full time.
Oh yeah, I got a full-time job out of uni doing working in ad agency, doing as a junior editor. So I did, I think, like a year there until I was like, "Ooh, advertising's not for me." And then we launched into weddings full-time. Advertising's crazy.
And Andrew, what sort of music videos were you doing? Was it like for a company, or was it?
Everything, like just a lot of indie labels, some more commercial labels as well. That was a really good sort of learning curve to get a feel for how a professional set was run, and just to see even gaffers doing what they do and directors and their style of communication and the way they work with talent as well. I think that's sort of shaped how I shoot weddings a little bit more so than I probably realised at the time, because the best directors were very good at getting good performances obviously, but how they did that was to connect with their talent. No matter how professional the performers were, they're still people and they still need to be made to feel at ease.
Was it the two of you discussing it that got you into weddings, or was it just that you fell into it? You know, how did you?
We definitely fell into it.
Right, okay.
We fell into it, yeah. It wasn't really planned.
Another friend of ours at film school started shooting wedding videos for a big Melbourne company. They do like 300 weddings a year. And I asked him if he could get me a job shooting because I wanted to do anything other than make coffees for a living.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, from there I don't think I'd even been to a wedding at that stage.
Nah, neither.
Yeah, that seems to be like a
started...
theme. Seems to be a theme with people that film weddings. It's like they've never even been to one, and they turn up and go, "Oh yeah, I need to know like the process here."
100%.
You did a friend's one, you say? Was it just like something you did just to test it out, and then you saw how they reacted, or how did that go?
Yeah, so I had a little bit of an inheritance, and I asked my parents if I could use that to buy my first camera.
Okay.
And they said yes.
Cool.
And so I bought a 5D Mark III and a 24-70, and off I went. And I was determined to prove to my boss, who was doing all the wedding videos, that I was going to be his best shooter.
Okay.
So I was there for a year, and I never even got to first shoot for him. So I was trying to prove myself to him by shooting a bunch of my friends' weddings, because my friends were starting to get married.
It's practice, yeah.
Yeah. And then Grace sort of said, "What are you going to do with the footage?" I said, "I don't know, I'm just going to shoot it."
So did you sort of like, did you use that stuff to set up a website? Did you like put that footage together?
I think we kind of did a couple, and then we started getting inquiries from people who were at the weddings, and just fell into it like that. I think we made like a shitty Facebook page, and I made some really ugly logo that I hand drew. It was all very noob. It was cool.
I still really like that logo.
I think we started on DVDs. We had like DVDs that we gave to couples.
Yeah. That's good to hear, because I feel old when I say to people I started doing like DVDs. I was like, yeah, I don't even have the burner now, but I had like the DVD burner and all that stuff.
Same, yeah, it's crazy.
You guys now, the thing I noticed about you the most was, your branding's so strong, and you've got a really sort of strong style, and it really stands out. How would you describe your style of filmmaking, and how did that evolve? Were you doing that from the start? You wanted to do that, or was it something that sort of came about?
Yeah, oh my God, it's hard to describe. I think the whole point of our website is to repel a lot of couples, because we only want really creative people to book us, right? So it's pretty crazy and like quite an interesting website. You really have to dig to find what you want, but you find that it just attracts really interesting people. Yeah. I don't think we didn't start out with a style at all. We basically it's taken like 7 years to get here basically. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny when people message us and say, I'll never be as good as you guys. And then we watch their work and they're 2 years in and we go, well, you're 10 times better than we were at that stage.
Yeah.
Like,
and you've only just started, and we've been doing it for like 10 years or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think when I started,
on that.
there was like the benefit of it wasn't as easy just to see everyone's stuff. You weren't like looking internationally and all that now. I think when you start now, there's like this pressure that you immediately see there's these great people everywhere, and you don't really have to like compare yourself to that, because those people have probably been doing it like 10 years, like you say, like I have, like you guys have. But yeah, what would you say your style is? It's like fast, and like you've got like frenetic editing there, but it's also, I don't know, you must apply, depending on the couple, because you have things like maybe something's mentioned in a speech, and then you've got some sort of clips in there from like rom-coms and stuff I've seen. So how would you describe that if you were selling yourself to people?
Oh, how would you describe it?
We're not very good at selling ourselves.
We're not very good at selling ourselves.
No.
I don't know. I think it's hard to describe it, because I feel like I try to just adapt to each couple. So I don't know if we have like a style per se. I think we're known as, Bottlebrush is, we do really interesting kind of edits and really, as you said, like fast-paced cuts, and a lot of like good Aussie humour, and, we don't shy away from any of that kind of stuff. But I think... What? I
got a line. Okay, music videos with really good narratives.
Oh, that's great.
Nice. That's good. There you go.
It's pretty music heavy, yeah.
Yeah, because Grace is a big music nerd, and I think she cuts really well to a beat, and isn't afraid to spend an extra week or two on an edit if it needs it.
No, cool. So what sort of couples? You said creative. So how else would you describe the couples you attract?
I've always said that more so than like a style or a look, our couples all have one thing in common, and that's that they don't mind being shown off as they are. They don't have the need to be shown in a perfect light, or I think they trust Grace to tell their story, warts and all. Yeah.
I think like we're not lucky, like we do target people like that, but I feel like we get people who are really interested in storytelling and don't just want, turn up, shoot my wedding day. Like it goes a bit further, like a lot of backstory of how they met, and it's more of like a kind of video of like their life up to that point rather than just their wedding. Yeah, I think that's kind of how we try to cut it together a little bit.
So Andrew, do you shoot?
Yeah, I do all the shooting, and Grace does all the editing. I've never edited one of our films.
Split down the middle.
That's nice to have that thing, because most people have a preference. Like, I'm much more about the editing, to be honest. So yeah, having someone to go out and film is quite nice. I think that would be
yeah.
Dude,
I
sort of
never get to
surprised.
meet people who, no one ever's like, oh, I prefer editing. Everyone always prefers filming. And I'm like, guys, you're missing out on the best part, which is all the storytelling. Like, I love editing.
Yeah, that's definitely for me. I mean, I noticed that when I've had a few weddings, someone else has had to shoot for me for various reasons, and it's cool to see it for the first time and have all that footage and like look at it from a fresh perspective or whatever. That's nice. But so I guess, Andrew, you're getting like I don't know, do you get involved? How do you get people to be quite playful and fun, and they're clearly comfortable in front of the camera? Is that coming from like talking to them beforehand, or is it just on the day you sort of get involved in the wedding?
Yeah, like I think we put a lot of effort. I'm obsessive with my emails. I write heaps and heaps of emails in depth and talk a lot, probably waste a lot of time, but it helps to really establish a great rapport between you and the couple before you've even met. And we always meet them before the wedding day as well. We had a quick drink the other day with a couple whose wedding's coming up in April, and that lasted 5 hours. So, but
you should take your cameras. Take your cameras along. You get some.
Yeah,
we should.
Put a mic on the table. And
but yeah, so I don't necessarily focus on directing them. I tend to leave that to the photographer. I'm just trying to create an environment where they're comfortable to be themselves, and that they don't necessarily need too much direction, because our films are very real, and I feel like if it was just me staging them in poses the whole time, it just would not mesh with that.
You said about your website, you use that to sort of attract the right people. Are there other things you do? Are there certain like questions you ask people to make sure they sort of fit you, or how do you do it?
I always ask them in the emails how they met and how they got engaged, and you kind of get a sense from how giving of that story they are, like how invested they are in having a wedding video.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good.
We always just trust our gut as well. Grace in particular is a really good read of characters.
Yeah, we've like had a couple want to book us before, and we've ended up having like said no, even though we were available, just because we were like, this is like, they were all business and we're not, and we're like, that's probably, and we had some red flags, and we're like, there's no point booking people that aren't gonna kind of elevate your brand a little bit. Not that it's about us, but you're right. If you want to keep attracting the right couple, you really have to put the work in. Like, if you say yes to every couple, then you've got no brand. You've got no specific target market, I guess.
Yeah, you need to be intentional about what sort of weddings you book. Even from the very start, there was one wedding that I think we were charging only $1,700 at the time, and we quoted them this, and the bride was an aspiring wedding planner, and what she described to me, because I do go in depth in the emails, and what she described to me back and forth just sounded incredible. And I said, in the end, we'll just do it for petrol money. And I think that was like our fourth ever.
Oh, it was like when we just started and
fourth ever film, and it ended up on the cover of a magazine here called Hello May, and that just sent us. Yeah. So you can be a bit strategic about things.
Yeah, try to charge though. Don't be like.
Yeah, I want to emphasise.
But we just started.
I want to emphasise that that's one of the only times we've done that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's good to be honest about that. Like, some people might pretend they've never done that, but everyone's done those jobs where you just think, I want this job, more than anything.
100%.
So.
Yeah. Like our first international wedding, we pretended like it was this great, cool thing. It was Andrew's brother. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So, I feel like you've always got to get a foot in the door in that kind of way, and then it kind of snowballs if you do a good job.
Yeah.
So equipment-wise, what have you settled on, the sort of cameras and other things, gimbals or whatever it is? What do you use, and why do you use those things?
Yeah, so I have actually been shooting for a few mates lately here in Melbourne, and I've realised that my gear kit is very minimal, even though we used to think it wasn't.
Yeah, I still like it minimal.
But yeah, I've been a Sony shooter for a while now. I've just gotten the A7S III. I've got my first native Sony lens now, a 24-70 G Master. Really liking that. I've got a Mavic 2. We've got some Nanlite Pavo tubes, which I'm really excited to try out some interesting and weird things with, because they've got some pre-programmed presets. We bought those for a music video we did recently.
Yeah.
And what about like audio-wise? Do you record like the vowels and stuff like that? Do you use?
Yeah, so I've got a Zoom F6 for 32-bit float audio. I like to have a self-contained lapel mic on the groom, not wireless, just so that if the F6 fails, then I've still got the groom's backup. So I've been using Tascams, but I'm looking at getting maybe the Zoom F2 because it's 32-bit float as well.
Okay, cool. So you don't use things like gimbals, stuff like that. You don't use any of that stuff.
Yeah, I've got a Ronin S. I don't use it all the time. We sort of pick and choose our weddings, but especially if I've got a second shooter, we'll definitely be using the gimbal a lot.
And then obviously, Grace, you say you do all the editing. What software do you use for editing? Have you always used the same thing? Do you change? What's your process?
Yeah, I usually just use Adobe Premiere. It's pretty popular over here. I've just always used Adobe, really. Yeah, I think uni they made us use Final Cut, and I just didn't like it. I don't know why, just not manual enough. Yeah, whole Adobe suite. Adobe Audition as well for all the post audio. We put that in there, and After Effects if we need it. That's about it.
Okay, and then grading wise and stuff, do you make your own LUTs, or do you use other ones, or do you just grade your weddings as you go? How do you do that stuff?
Yeah, I use other LUTs. We bought a pack. I just grade it in Premiere and keep it pretty simple. I really should swap into DaVinci and do it, but I feel like...
No, your stuff looks really nice. You've got like quite bold colours and everything. It looks good. This might be different because there's two of you and you have different roles. But what would you say is your favourite part of the job? What's the thing you like the most? You can obviously answer separately. Is it the filming? Is it the editing? Or is it just meeting new people? Or is it just the fact you're self-employed? What's your favourite part of being like wedding videographers, basically?
There's so much.
Good question.
I think for me it's getting paid to listen to music all the time. I reckon that's pretty good. It's my favourite part. It's just like once I listen to all the speeches and do my selects for speeches first, but then I go find music to match, and I reckon that's the best. I just get to go for hours and listen to tracks, and we use music bed.
You use music bed, cool.
Yeah, all from music bed now.
What about you, Andrew? Is it the shooting, or is it just being on the wedding on the day, or what is it you like the most?
Yeah, I think it's probably a couple of things. Is like definitely meeting new people. I'm a people person.
He's a people person. I'm a hermit sometimes. I can be really outgoing, but then also full hermit mode. And she's like, oh, we get to meet a couple today. And I'm like... So that's good. He's very good with people.
Yeah, I like meeting people, but I like the freedom of being self-employed as well. I don't think I could go back to a 9-to-5 job.
No, we just shot a music video, and obviously working really closely with a label, and they had so much control over what we did, like we were employed. And I found it so difficult. Like, I was kind of getting a bit worn out by weddings, so it was nice to do something different, But then I realised how lucky we are to be our own bosses and to be able to run our own show. Like, I honestly wouldn't swap it for anything. Yeah. Like, you could not convince me to work for anybody else. So freelance, but that's it.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear, because it was one of my main... like, you want there to be this sort of really romantic story about why you got into the job you do, but for me, really, it was just... I was just sick of having a boss, and I thought I need to do something where I don't have a boss. And then I told my job what I was going to do, like do weddings and stuff, and they sort of laughed at the idea you could ever make money at that. And that just made me really determined to never go back. I'm like... So that's your favourite parts of the job. What would you say is the biggest mistake you've made on a job that you're willing to admit anyway on camera?
I got so many mistakes.
Yeah.
How much time have you got? Definitely when we first started, we undercharged for many years, and we did not understand that we were business owners. So we were just excited to be booking, but no, wrong.
Big time.
We never went through and did like a proper business plan, and we never went through and said, how much do you want to earn for this year? We just kind of picked a price for no reason, which... cannot recommend any less.
Yeah.
And what was the other? We overbooked as well. I feel like a lot of people do that starting out. Like, they get so excited that they're booking so much, they say yes to everything. Before you know it, you've got 52 weddings in a year, which is what we had. And it was mayhem. I couldn't keep up and edit them all, and that was a lot of pressure.
Yeah. To give that some context, we now do 15 weddings a year.
We now do 15.
I think if the market's saying you're booking 52 weddings a year, you're probably too cheap.
Yeah, you're too cheap.
No, that's good. That's a good point.
If you're getting all yeses, you're too cheap.
And you shot all like 52 of them, Andrew?
That's still a lot.
That's enough. Nearly, yeah.
Nearly, yeah.
We had a friend cover some of them, but yeah.
Yeah, it was mayhem.
That's tough. That's tough to keep the enthusiasm up.
Yeah, it was still early days though. I think I was just like...
I think you loved it. He loves it. He would shoot 100 a year if he could. He'd just go out and film every day. I'm just like, no.
Stop bringing me this footage.
It's easy from a shooter.
Yeah, I'm like, piss off.
Yeah.
We've mentioned a little bit about like film score and music videos and stuff like that. What would you say is the thing that's influenced your work the most? You know, is it something from the wedding industry, or is it music videos on TV, or is it music itself, or films? You know, what do you think has influenced you the most in your work?
For me, definitely music and music videos. Probably more so music than anything. I think that's always influenced me a lot. I don't know what it is for you. What influences yours?
I would just say, I don't know. I just play, like just having fun with it all and trying new things. I think weddings are really unique. We forget it a lot of the times, but weddings are really unique in that sense. Like any other context of filmmaking, you'd have so many other people having their say or telling you what to do, but wedding films, you really can please yourself.
Yeah.
So I try and take advantage of that with being a bit experimental and using different lenses and trying different things. Just play, like just experimenting and playing with it all.
And then do you come back after the shooting and like explain to Grace what you were doing? Like, oh, when you get to that bit and I'm lens whacking or whatever it is. That was because I was trying this. Or do you keep your roles like completely separate and the film like edits in a different way to maybe you'd imagine it would have gone? Or you know, how do you do that?
I stay in my lane. It works better that way.
He literally tells me nothing. He'll be like, I think there's like 4 cards. Here you go. And I'm like, cool,
I think
thanks.
that's good. I think that's probably good though, so you don't like confuse it too much, you know. I think that's nice.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why, like, you know, when you do feature films, there's, you know, the cut of the film that's released, and then there's often like the director's cut, you know, where it's a bit more shoveled in and it's longer, and people don't give a shit, but the director does because they're so attached to it.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Andrew's going to do?
but...
Andrew's going to be doing those edits, like the 4-hour.
We used to have
director's cut. He'd be like, you have to put this shot in. I'm like, it's boring.
Our friend from film school that got us into wedding videos, he still runs his own business as well. And I used to argue with Grace. I'm like, you're not showing off my best shots. And she's like, nobody gives a shit about your best shots. It's about the couple. And so I think like that's a really important distinction. Like if I was editing our films, I'd be editing for my own ego, whereas Grace edits for the couple.
Yeah. So. No, I think that's a really good point.
I'm not attached to the footage.
Yeah. No, that's nice actually, because you definitely, I can be guilty of like you be at a wedding, you just think that's just worked really nicely. But it's not necessarily the best moment. It might just be the best angle or whatever, you know. No, that's cool. I like that.
It might not make anyone feel anything other than the cinematographer go, yes.
Yeah, I think that's true. Do you ever watch them back? Do you ever watch Grace's edits back there and think, oh, I don't know about that? Or not? Or are you like...
Be careful what you say.
No, I'm constantly blown away. She's...
We do like little premiere nights.
When you go into your next season, do you normally have something you're looking to improve in your work? And if so, what would you say that is for you this time?
Good question. I think I'm always trying to improve my cinematography. Like, I don't even grade our films, which is a huge knowledge gap for us. And that's something that I want to work on.
Yeah, you want to learn to grade. I think we sometimes, like, I'll be like, I really want to book more couples like this. And it's like, I think last season was like, I really want to do I want to do 2 girls, and I want to make it really moody and do something like, I don't know, we're just not attracting who we want to attract sometimes. So we might try do like a styled shoot or something and build ourselves up to one thing. Like for this season, it was my friends who were getting married, and we wanted to do a kind of 90s styled shoot a lot like outside of the wedding date and combine that and make it a bit retro and film on like, you know, VHS and Super 8 and digital as well, and combine them all. So I think we kind of have a couple each season we kind of want to do something different with. But
yeah, we've got one coming up where I'm not even shooting it because it's overseas and we can't travel at the moment, but we're treating it as like a short film almost, where we're doing a lot of pre-production, a lot of lighting design. They're going to go into the desert in the States and just do some crazy stuff, and so I'm working with the cinematographer and Grace, and we're going to like try and make that something that's really out there and different.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think you guys had one. You had a film like in a camp once with a bonfire and stuff, and a couple.
Oh yeah, that was the two girls.
I mean,
that
that was so cool. That I remember watching that, thinking, "Wow, this is just so different." You know, was that like a concept you had and you wanted to try it, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was one of the ones that sort of started me off with wanting to experiment with light, because I had all these ideas for so many years, and you don't want to like force it onto a couple who's it's not going to be right for, but these guys, they were up for absolutely anything, and we said it's going to be as much a film shoot as it is a wedding, and they were down for it.
Yeah, I think I've been watching like a bunch of music videos and wanted to test some things out in terms of lighting. Like, we want to just do like coloured lighting and black and white, and that was it. Like, and like blue lit bathroom shower scene and things like that. So we kind of did a bit of pre-production for that, which was fun. We kind of treated it semi-music video, and then
okay,
we got to do cool things. Like, we put 2 little lights on a drone facing straight down, and we had them in the middle of the field. There's one shot in there, you might be able to pick it if you rewatch it. And so the drone was above them about 6 feet, and then we just flew it straight up into the air. And these lights on the drone were literally the only things lighting them. So eventually they just sort of disappeared into darkness as the drone kept going up.
But then I pointed out to Andrew, I'm like, it literally looks the same as like fading out of the film. Like, I would have just been cross-fade, man. And I was like, that failed.
Yeah, but it's blue though. It's blue.
but it's lights on a drone, man.
Like I say, the experiments don't always exactly work out the way you want them to, but it's good fun.
You've already given some really great tips and things to people, but what would you say is your sort of top tip for someone who's getting into the industry now? Like, for someone starting out today, what would you say is the thing you've learned the most, the bit of advice you'd give people?
Good question. I would say don't watch other people's work too much. Just allow yourself to find your own style before you get sort of paralysis by analysis, but also identify what is your strengths and what is your weakness, because most creatives don't necessarily know how to run a business that well, and we were definitely in that case, in that side of things.
Yeah, I'd say almost as well, like in terms of from an editing perspective, I'd say like make sure you show your work to people who aren't couples and get actual feedback. Like, don't be afraid to get negative feedback. I know it's so hard for people to take that on, but like going back to when I worked at the ad agency, that was a full year basically of people telling me I was not in those words, but it was really hard. But then I increasingly got better because I work with these amazing creatives who would come back and go, that's not good enough, like do this again. And it's, you learn so much, and after a while you stop being so precious about it. Like, you actually need feedback to get better. Don't put yourself in a position where people just tell you you're amazing all the time, because that's, actually a bit of self-improvement doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It's hard to hear, but, just get someone to review it maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, I'll get people to send their work to you guys. And then you can like...
Just send us all your films,
Only negative comments allowed. You run a workshop out in Australia, don't you? How did that come about? Was that something you just decided you wanted to do, or was it in collaboration with other people, or was it all your thing? How does that work?
Oh yeah, it's in collaboration. It's
all Andrew's thing.
So there's lots of amazing workshops for photographers, and there's we sort of went, I would love to go to something like that, and we're like, we don't know if we can justify it because it's photography, not film. And in the end, I got sick of waiting for one to pop up, so we decided to make it ourselves.
And we were like, have never done a workshop, even like a day thing before, or anything remotely workshop related. And then Andrew's like, okay, so we're going to do a 5-day workshop in the bush, and it's going to be like 4 nights. And I'm like, are you insane?
We've always been ambitious. That's true.
But basically it's to fill a bit of a void that's missing here in Australia. Like there's no film workshops out here for wedding filmmakers, and we just really wanted, and there's not, it's hard to get a community together in person now.
Yeah, we just want to leave the wedding filmmaking industry in a better place than we found it as well, and help people avoid a lot of the mistakes that we made along the way. But the sort of ethos for it was, we just wanted to create the sort of film camp and workshop that we would want to attend ourselves.
Okay.
And so we invited some, amazing Aussie wedding filmmakers like Till Death, Humdrum Films, Auburn Hour, we're hoping round 2 can happen again this year. We've tentatively scheduled it for September.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's going to happen or not, but fingers crossed.
Oh, well, good luck with that, guys.
Man.
Sounds really cool. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
If people want to find you guys, find your work, where should they look? I mean, is it mainly Instagram or your website? You know, where are the best places to find you?
Oh yeah, always social media. It's all just Bottlebrush Films. We're on TikTok, Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. Website's good too. bottlebrushfilms.com.au. And what's the camp one?
Oh yeah, and lonelyheartsfilmcamp.co is the the film
website.
camp. If you want updates for that, I'll sign up for the mailing list. It's all there on the website, and there's an Instagram page for that as well, with all the highlights of how the first camp went, and you can see for yourself what it was like.
That's really great. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, no, that was really informative, and I think you were really honest, so I'm sure people have taken a lot from that.
Thanks
Hopefully.
for having us. So fun.
Thanks to Grace and Andrew for coming on and being so open and honest. You can find links to their website, which I definitely recommend having a look at, and their Instagram, as well as information about my upcoming workshop in the description below. See you in the next episode.